Hello everyone. Today we shall look into the creation of tables using interface as well as the query method. Here you could see that I have opened the databases and I don't have any database to create. By default, if we select the master database is selected, let us create a database. I'll write create database practice. I'm creating a database called practice. I'm selecting it and executing it. Once you execute, here you could see that the command is completed successfully, but here you are not able to see the change in master database. To move into the practice database, we'll use the command use practice. I'll select it, execute the database. Here you could see that now my existing database has been changed to practice. Now we shall move further to use the graphic interface in order to create a table. Here I'll select the database. Here you could notice that in Object Explorer I have the practice database. Here we have tables. If I click on tables, there are no existing tables. I'll click on tables, I'll right click on new table. Once we enter this page, here you could see that I have column names, data type, and whether to allow nulls or not. I want three columns, which is id. Id could be in integer format. Here you could see several data types where you need respective data type and you could choose the required one. I don't want to allow null for id column, hence I'll uncheck it. Second column which I need is name. Here name I would use varchar data type of 50 characters, and here I will uncheck the null. Third data type which is required is age. Again we shall take int and I'll allow null for it. If it is not available, still it is fine. Okay, I'll right click on this one. I'll save table. I'll save the table name as employee table. I'll click OK. Now our schema of table data is formed. Let us check where the table is formed. Once I refresh, here you could see that dbo.employee table is formed. I'll click on this table. I'll right click on edit top 200 rows. Here you could see that you could enter the data manually by typing, like I'll type id 101, employee is John, and age is 30. Move to the second row, you could type 102. You can type the name as Abraham and age is 25. So similarly you could enter the rows manually and it will be saved by default. You may not be requiring to do anything. I'll close this tab. Here I'll close this tab. This is our query window. I'll hit enter. Here you could see that wherever I'm entering, you could see that a batch is formed. Okay, here you could see that a batch is formed. In order to avoid it, I'll type go. Okay, and it will avoid the batch. It will create a new batch wherever you start. Here I would like to see the table which is created. I'll write star from employee table. Okay, once we write this select star from employee table, I'll select it. Here you could see that I have id, name and age column. Okay, now let us create another table which is department table using query method. Here what I'll do is I'll write go, and you could see that the batch will be separated. Here I'll write create table. I'll write department. Okay, I'll open the parenthesis. I can write department id which is in integer format, comma, department name which could be in varchar. I'll provide some 20 characters. Okay, I'll close the parenthesis and I'll run this by selecting it. Okay, here you could see that command is completed successfully. Here if you don't see the table, you could click on the refresh button. Okay, otherwise you could select the tables, right click and refresh. Now here you could see that if you refresh the table, the department table is appearing. DBO here which is appearing, it is called schema. We shall understand about schema moving further. Here, once we have created the table, let us insert few rows into the department table. I'll write insert into, our table name is department. I'll write values. Here in the values, we can enter the values like 1 comma. In order to enter the department name, I'll start with quotations, single quotations. I'll write marketing. Okay, I'll close the parenthesis. You could select this and you could execute it. You could see that one row is affected. If you would like to check the data which is affected, you could write select star from department. Okay, I'll select the line. Here you could see that my department ID and department name is appearing. Suppose that if we want to insert multiple rows, what I could do is I'll copy this, I'll show you here. Here I'll put a comma. I can open another parenthesis. Instead of marketing, I'll write sales and I'll write 2. Here I'll write 3 comma HR. Close the parenthesis. I'll write 4 comma finance. Close the parenthesis. Here you could see that I have written multiple rows which are needed to be inserted. I'll select the query. I'll execute. Here you could see 3 rows are affected. Let us see what are the rows in the department. I'll execute. Here you could see that 4 departments are inserted. Instead of selecting all the columns by entering star, I would like to see only department name. I'll write department name instead of entering star. Here if I want only department name, I'll write select department name from department. Once we execute, here you could see that table is formed. Okay, suppose that you want to drop a table. Suppose that I want to drop a table, I'll write drop table department. Once we drop it, the table will no more be available. Here you could see that if at all I use this query, select query again, here you could see that invalid object name department. We could delete the data also. I'll write delete from employee. Okay, here once I select it and I'll execute it, here you could see that 2 rows are affected. Now let us see the data in employee table. I'll write select star from employee. Once I write this query and select and execute, here you could see that the 2 rows which were existing in the employee table are now invisible because they are deleted. But the table will not delete because only the data will be deleted using delete command. If we want to remove entirely, we could use this drop table clause. Okay, drop table statement where it drops the table entirely. This is all for now. Thank you for watching and we shall meet in the next video.